this story I want us to look at here is the real definition of trumped up charges. This gentleman, there's this story that is now trending. Nairobi, man charged with stealing CCTV cameras from parliament before protesters stormed in. Then this photo has been shared of this gentleman. This gentleman, a man, is allegedly being charged that he broke into parliament and disabled CCTV cameras a day before anti-finance bill protesters stormed in, has been charged and was charged in local today on Wednesday. Kelvin Mwamiri Mangare is accused of gaining access into parliament 4 times. Lakini serikali inakuwa na mchezo sana. 4 times between April and July 2024, and was allegedly found with electrical switches stolen from parliament building worth 2.6 million at the time of his arrest on Monday. You know, parliament is one of the most protected areas. How someone who is a civilian, you can even say, you can say that broke into parliament. You know, some things. I think government should just be serious. Huh? There is every attempt to frame a story that the protest in parliament was planned. So, according to what they're saying, he is alleged to have broken into basement 2 area of the main parliament building on April 23rd, where he stole 2 Cisco CCTV switches belonging to Maga Security Solution Company. The theft reportedly took place at around 6:30 p.m. along Parliament Road. Mwamiri was also charged with breaking into Parliament on May 20th at around 6 p.m. and stealing more CCTV switches from Maga Security Solution Company. So all this story is still talking about someone breaking past 6 p.m. Do you want, guys, let's be very honest. Do you want to tell us that someone can break into State House and steal a CCTV camera? Then you want to convince us that someone broke into Parliament and stole a CCTV camera? Surely. 4 times. Then why are you arresting this guy? Why aren't you even arresting the securities, the soldiers at the gate? Or the soldiers that are manning the establishment? Parliament is one of the most protected areas. And I've seen members of public raising questions with this story. And they say, Eti, Mwamiri pleaded not guilty to the charges before Mlimani Senior Magistrate Gilbert Shikwe. He requested lenient bond terms and was released on cash bail of 200,000 or a bond of 500,000 Kenyan shillings. The case will be mentioned after 2 weeks. Then these stories are created to me to justify. I don't want to believe that someone broke into parliament. Is it possible? Maybe someone need to explain to us. Is it possible? Kuna vitu zingine nyinyi mna no. But a story is being created around it. Now, just on that first, I want to share condolences to the family of Justice David Majanja. If you remember we really analyzed about his judgment. Remember the judge, the 3-bench judge that was hearing the housing levy case last year. The first 3 judges that threw away that housing levy, Justice Majanja was one of them. And so Justice Majanja died. It has been confirmed by Martha Koome. So the legal fraternity is mourning a comrade. These stories of people broke into parliament, to me, are part of, are part of packaging a narrative that the protest was organized. But then, there is another third-year JKUAT student known as Denzel Omi, whose body was found in a swamp somewhere. And postmortem was done and is showing that he was one of the protesters then, and is showing that that he died out of, what are they saying? He drowned himself to death. But that is emerging that is not even the truth. That gentleman could have really been part of the statistics of extra-legal activities. Ladies and gentlemen, the two things, and I've started that story because I want us to look at how the president and Kenya Kwanza is maneuvering their way around these Gen Z protests. Today, William Ruto was in Kajiado, and he said that there are some international forces that, is telling Kenyans, I'm not going to leave power. That's what he's saying. There is no election going on now, so we are in a state, and I'm not going to leave power. I'm going to stay in power. And that those who are trying, international foreign forces that are behind the move for the protests, he was saying something about it that probably, but let's hear Nani first. Let's hear Ichung'wa first, who was talking about some scavengers.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Rais, watu wa Kajiado, enda soma poki. Muriaga. Mheshimiwa Rais, ni kweli nimekusumbua sana juu ya hii mradi ya Kimuka substation pamoja na waziri na PS wako. Na last year wakati kama mwezi wa 8 tulikuwa hapa na waziri wakati mradi ilikuwa inaendelea, na tukaweka pressure sababu watu wa hapa Kajiado na majirani wetu hapa Kikuyu, sisi hapa kwetu Kikuyu ng'ambo hii tu ya barabara, ikifika saa 1 jioni stima ilikuwa inazimika. Saa ile tunahitaji mchana, saa ile hatuhitaji stima, iko jioni ikiakishwa inapotea sababu ya overload ya stima. Na kupitia huu mradi sasa hata viwanda, nimeambiwa na PS, hata tukitaka kuweka kiwanda yenye itataka 66 kV hapa Kajiado ama Kikuyu itawezekana. Na kwa ile mpango yako ya manufacturing, sasa viwanda zitaweza kuja hapa Kajiado na Kikuyu, na tuko na umeme wa kutosha, na umeme ambao ni green energy kutoka Suswa station. Mheshimiwa Rais, tukushukuru kwa hiyo kazi. Lakini unapofanya hiyo ndio kazi ambayo sisi kama Wakenya tulikupea. Na umesema vizuri, usikubali kuwa distracted hapa katikati, sababu mtihani yako na yetu kama wabunge ni 2027. Na wale ambao wanataka kudistract wewe hapa, sababu Rais, hata yale mambo umeona juzi ikitokea Kenya, ni sababu they are political scavengers. People who imagine they can scavenge. People who wanted to divide our country first along ethnic lines. Political scavengers, Your Excellency, who wanted to divide our country even along class lines. Those political scavengers, Your Excellency, we want to tell them to wait for the next elections in 2027. Let them come and sell their agenda to the people of Kenya, as the people of Kenya look at your track record on development matters as you promised them when they elected you. Kwa hivyo Rais, tukiwa hapa Kajiado, Mheshimiwa ndugu yangu Sunguya anajua tunafanya kazi kwa ukaribu sana. Watoto wengi wa hapa Kimuka na Kajiado wanavuka ng'ambo wanakuja kusomea Kikuyu. Watu wengi kutoka Kikuyu wanakuja ufanya biashara hapa. Tukiwa na shida ya stima inatusumbua sisi wote kwa usawa. Ndio tuliwaambia yule aliyedhania atatugawanya kwa misingi ya ukabila. Hapa Kajiado jamii zote za Kenya wanaishi kwa amani hapa Kajiado. na Wakenya wamerevuka rais, hawawezi kukubali kugawanywa kwa misingi ya ukabila. Therefore, let us tell those political scavengers, whether you imagine you will divide the people of Kenya on the basis of their regions, on the basis of their ethnic communities, woe unto you.
So Ichung'wa is talking about local scavengers here, and Ichung'wa is the most predictable and really shallow in terms of how he puts up his things. He's just thinking about Rigathi. I'm one person that believes this, much as I don't agree with Rigathi on many things. Yeah, I don't agree with Rigathi on quite a number of fronts. But I don't see Rigathi as a person to remove Ruto from power. You know, sometimes even if we want to think so, even if we want to hoodwink the public, but you also need to be extra smart. I don't see Rigathi having that ability to remove Ruto from power. Bado, hapo bado. If Ruto has to be removed through an impeachment, then it doesn't even have enough parliamentarians around him. This issue about if you look at even the military, I don't see Rigathi in it. So we are elevating Rigathi, and we are putting something on him that is even beyond him. And I think Ichung'wa is probably just trying to continue the narrative of profiling individuals. But the president's speech was the one that I really paid attention to, and that is why I'm telling you. The president's talking about some foreign powers.
Kila mmoja wetu tujue ya kwamba pale 2027 tutafanya mtihani na hawa wananchi, na kila mtu atakuja na kazi yake amefanya, si ndio? Si mtihani iko mbele, so hakuna haja ya kusumbuana hapa katikati. Wacha tungoje hii mtihani, kila mtu afanye hii mtihani, tuone nani wa kupita nani wa kuanguka, si ndio? Ama mnasemaje watu wa Ngong? Ya ile kitu mimi nataka niwaulize ndugu zetu wa Kenya, tusikubali nchi yetu iharibike, ama tulete fujo, ama mambo ya vita, ama mambo ya ambayo itaharibu amani ya taifa letu la Kenya. Sisi ni nchi ya demokrasia, si ndio? Sisi ni nchi ya demokrasia, na katika demokrasia wananchi ndio wanaamua, na wanaamua katika uchaguzi. So kila mtu ajipange. Mimi najipanga, hii uchaguzi tutakutana, si ndio? Hakuna problem, si ndio? Tutakutana kwa uchaguzi na kila mtu atakuja atandike kazi yake ile amefanya. Na nyinyi wananchi ni watu werevu. Nyinyi mtajua huyu amefanya kazi apite, huyu ameshindwa na kazi aende nyumbani. Story finish. Ama namna gani jameni? Tunakubaliana? So hakuna haja ya kuharibu amani ya nchi, hakuna haja ya ulete fujo Kenya, hakuna haja ya kujaribu kutumia njia ya mkato. Wananchi hawa ni werevu na ndio wanaamua vile Kenya itasonga mbele. Tunaelewana jameni? Na wale wanajaribu kufanya mambo kule ngambo sijui wapi, kupanga mambo ya nini, mimi nataka niwaambie Kenya is a democratic nation. And this is our country, na mama pale amesema Kenya hatuami. Si ndio? So mimi nataka niwashukuru sana kwa kutupokea hapa nyumbani.
Listen to that. Now, what does this story say with what I just shared with you about that gentleman they're saying that broke into parliament? The state believes, and this is what I'm saying, that the Gen Z that came out in their numbers were out and it was just planned anarchy. In fact, I've always said this. I understand the president's anger by the fact that people stormed parliament. Yes, I understand. As a president, you need to. I know he looks at his term, he looks at his advisors, look at the term and say, oh, it is my term that people stormed parliament. Even during Uhuru era there was protest, but it did get to that point. But I wish we instead of looking for these imaginary sponsors, we just face what the people are saying. And why are you calling people for dialogue and you believe that there's some legitimate and that what happened was planned? So apparently someone is saying that you have evidence, you have a suspect who you suspect stole CCTV, that when you're taking to court and charging and releasing on bond. But someone who stormed parliament, people who stormed parliament, they're very shocking scenes about kidnappings and extra legal disappearances of those individuals. So we are really insisting about this, and I think there is that which Kenya Kwanza wants to achieve with this narrative. When they are in Nairobi, in the full glare of the cameras here, we are talking about dialogue. The Gen Zs have legitimate calls. I think we should just do what Mutahi Kahiga is saying here. Mutahi Kahiga is very right here. This is what we need to stick to. But this narrative twisting is also very strategic for the Kenya Kwanza because there is something they want to achieve. And from where I'm seated, this is what I'm seeing. Government lacks the silver bullet on addressing the Gen Z issues. And in fact, it's not Gen Z issues. About governance. They lack that. And I can say, even I agree with those who are saying, this dialogue thing is not a process of, it's not a process that's supposed to lead us to fixing our governance. The dialogue is a process that is supposed to remove people from the streets. The dialogue is a process that is supposed to be, is a platform that is created for the government to defend the said plan, the much hyped plan. And they lack that silver bullet. So when they're talking to the rural folks, for example, that was in Kajiado, when they're talking to the rural folks, they'll want to make it come out clearly that what is going on, what happened there. They know very well that government is also very unpopular, hata huko chini. And what happened is not about our children. It's about some people that wants to remove us from power. And it's because government lacks the silver bullet. Then the second thing I'm seeing here, the move by stakeholders, professional organizations, and the other, even this young population and the other sectors that were demanded to bring to table, the move by them to reject any sort of talks really sent some panic. And now, the government, I think what Ruto advisors have settled on is, if we cannot get any dialogue with these people, then we will have to discredit them. And now we'll start now calling them anarchists, people who are criminals, people. And this is part of, it started with the criminals. And I'm not shocked that someone is thinking about, is crafting this narrative of everything was planned. But rejecting the talks is because by bringing them to the table to talk, you legitimize their voices, you legitimize their concerns. But when you call them people who just want to remove you from power, and that is why from that speech Ruto is talking about, there is no election now, the next election is coming in 2027. So I think that is also one of the things why Kenya Kwanza is developing that narrative of anarchy. The other third aspect, I think, there is a fear of imminent extinction. Yes, these people can remove you from power. The transition is coming, and it's coming too early, too fast, and for some politicians, it will consume them. It will actually consume them. Lastly, I'm also saying Kenya Kwanza wants to hoodwink the rural folks. because they have lost the urban youth. So they want to at least get the rural people, the people in the rural setup. I've seen a couple of bloggers saying, and of course MPs have been stage managing their reception. The other day I saw Ndindi Nyoro reception in Kiharu. There's also Osoro in Kisii. So people have been stage managing very huge receptions to show people that they're with the people, but just to revolve. And people have been saying that it's the things that are being said, the president and the team wants the people in the village to think, that is for the Nairobi youth, the Gen Z. And because of course kuna people like our grannies and our mothers, sometimes even if you tell them Gen Z, so they're like, what's Gen Z? You know. And I think as now for us to have this discourse in the right manner, it is also high time that we start debunking the issue as a Gen Z, as a people owned, because some people think that Gen Z is just a clique of people. It's not us. It's not for our parents. The Gen Z is just to explain those who are protesting, but it's also part of us. Now, I will just some time explain, and let me just put it here on this issue of planning. Why I don't believe on the whole thing about planning of the protest. I will really try to put up some piece around that, and yeah, for the team that normally sometimes remains me. Kevin, you said you will do this analysis. Kindly remind me. I really want to put up something around it. Thank you.